Hi, guys. Welcome back to our discussion of A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. As a reminder, quick reminder, this is a true reread. If you're somehow just dropping into this episode randomly, go back. There's at least the first A Court of Mist and Fury episode that you should probably listen to. But we are also rereading these books. We've read them multiple times before. We're going to discuss them in terms of the whole series. So if you have not read all of the ACOTAR books through Silver Flames, this is not for you. But if you have, please stay with us. Otherwise, go read those. And then I will say that at the end of this episode, we will be discussing what we've read, which is, I should say, part 2 of A Court of Mist and Fury. We're going to discuss it in terms of potentially the other Sarah J. Maas books. So if you are not fully caught up on the Mossverse, we'll warn you, and that is the time when you should just press pause and then go read whatever ones of our books you haven't read yet, because they're all great. But yeah, part 2 of A Court of Mist and Fury. Huge section. Basically everything happens. And I want to just talk about the end, like right now. Just like chapter 50 and 51. Probably because they're some of my least favorite chapters possibly ever written. And I just want to see what how you feel about where Feyre and Rhys are at this point in the story. Elena, what do you got?
Two of the worst chapters ever written. I don't hate them to that level. So I'm just trying to,
I know.
my mind's whirring, trying to figure out
I
why.
may be being a bit dramatic. They're just not my favorite chapters in this book.
Are we a little mad at Feyre? Yeah, maybe.
No.
See, and this is why I wanted to talk about this right away, because I knew at least one of you, probably Elena, would not agree with me, and I wanted to get right down to it. So yes, the reason that I am upset, and I've with everything with this reread, trying to go in an unbiased way, and I can agree that Rhys should have told her. Totally think that he probably should have told her by now. But I also understand why he didn't. I feel like we have this conversation about a lot of people in different book series, but um, I don't love. I should also say I understand that Farrah is upset and she has every right to be upset. I don't love the like leaving him in the mud thing. I don't know. Just every time I read it, I'm like, he just almost died. You super love him. He loves you. Why? Why? Why?
She drops off at the house. Like, she makes sure he's with his friends.
Okay.
But just drops him and walks away. But can we
Literally.
rewind and she like chucks the weed that will save his life at him
So mean.
and to be like, eat this.
Yeah. I don't love
As
that
he's
either.
dying.
It hurts me every time here.
Fair. I mean, I can't really defend that part of it, but I think overall I understand her anger about the fact that he didn't tell her. And I
Mhm.
know, like, it makes sense why he didn't, but I also think, like, I think it's valid that she needs her space and, like, just wants to get away and figure out where her head is, given that she was engaged all of 2 months ago. Or not engaged, getting married all of 2 months ago.
Yeah. She's definitely been through a lot in a very short amount of time, for sure. And I do also agree that she has every right to like need some space. I think I just wish she was a little less angry. Like, yeah, Jamie, like the throwing the weed at him when she comes into the cave and he's like, I don't even know what I did. It's like that scary, like, do I apologize? Even though I'm not sure what I'm saying I'm sorry for. Like, I don't know. I wish that there was a little more understanding and she can be angry, but maybe be like, I get that you have reasons for keeping it from me, but like I do not forgive you at this point and I need some time. But I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't really like how she handled it. I did like how she put her foot down and said, like, you don't get to ask me questions. Like, I'm asking you the questions, you give me the answers. I like
Yes.
that. Just
Yeah.
not all the other parts.
Yeah. I feel like it could have been handled a little differently. And it just makes me
But like
sad.
I know. He was very close to telling her too. Like they were
Yeah.
flying and there were moments where he wanted to say something, but he closed his mouth. So it's not like it's just bad timing.
Yeah. Um, I will say too that oh no, what were you gonna say, Jamie?
I was gonna say, but it gave us another serial moment.
It did. It gave us another surreal moment, which is, I mean, it's one of my favorite moments in the whole series. Really, is like the
Yeah.
whole like comes all the way around to realize like when she said stay with the High Lord, she meant this one.
Right.
Love it. Yeah, the surreal is so great. We all love the surreal. But yeah,
We do. We do.
we do. We do.
Just
And I
just different levels.
different levels of love. I do especially love in this moment with the surreal how Feyre notices that the surreal probably didn't need to be caught. And that maybe they came to help her to pay her back for saving them from the Naga in their first meeting in A Court of Thorns and Roses. I thought that was nice.
That is nice.
Their little relationship growing throughout the 3 books is so fun to read. But yeah,
And
we
what is
find
that,
out.
like, the second I was gonna say, like, that's the second kind of, like, creature that pays Feyre back in a way for Feyre saving them or helping in some way. So the first one would be, I guess, yeah, the cereal. Then the second one would be the water rafts,
Oh yeah, the water
during the
wraiths.
test.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how you say it.
Yeah, wraiths. We make up words in our head. We read
I'm so
fantasy.
bad at names.
The water wraiths. Yep.
Those things.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean like the water wraiths also repaid their debt to Feyre by saving her in the summer court. Um
Oh, I love the summer court.
yeah. Oh, the summer court. The summer court. I think that I've said in at least one of these episodes, that is the moment where I had like been leaning toward I really wanted her to be with Reese, but didn't think that they would actually work out. And it was at the summer court that I was like, I don't care anymore. Like, fuck Tamlin. Like, these two are ending up together. That barge scene, love it every time.
The jealousy scene, right?
Oh,
That's where it happens.
the
Love it.
angst. So good.
Yes.
Jealousy scene? What about the under the mountain scene? The the Court of Nightmares scene. That's the one for me where I'm like, this is the scene.
Oh, that's one
That
of my
was another
favorites.
good scene too.
That's one of my favorite scenes in the whole book. But I was saying that the summer court is where when I was reading this the first time, was like, Reese and Feyre need to end up together at the end of this, or else I die. You waited
See, I
all the
never
way up until Night Court, the Court of Nightmares.
no, I never had that moment. The first read through, I kind of always hated that Tam was being an
Mm,
asshole and was stuck on that. Hence why I skipped to the end to see if she ended up back with Tam.
right.
Brooke and I just instantly go, mm.
But of course you did. Right.
Skipping to the end.
Like I
Yeah.
don't think I was like their end game until like chapter 54 or so.
Ow. Like you knew that they
That's
were
a long
endgame,
time.
but you were not convinced that you were happy about it.
Yeah.
Did you wanted them to kiss at Starfall?
I don't remember.
There was like a scene where it was really cute. And I'm just like, oh, this would have been a really good moment if they had kissed. I think it was Starfall.
I,
Yeah.
I
I
don't think
love
so.
I love all the small kisses though. The little like forehead kisses.
The kiss on the cheek. Yes, on the
And I
brow specifically.
yeah. And I love the little scene where Reese is like, I really wish that I could take that first kiss back because it like basically wasn't how I wanted to
Yeah.
first kiss you. And I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
so cute. But yes,
I
summer
love their
court.
banter too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
I
many things
mean,
about this book that we love.
Could talk about Feyre and Rhys literally all day long. They're my favorite fantasy couple of all time. But yeah, Jamie, what else did you love about the Summer Court?
I love that it took us to like another court
Mm.
because we got the spring, we got to do the night court. Summer was like a different vibe. Loved it. We got to meet more the High Lord, different characters, the Varian and Amryn
Reseda.
tension.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and Chris, yeah, her too. All of that, and it also made there was like a really touching moment where Feyre says like, "Oh, it would have been really easy to fall in love with you." To Tarquin, and Rhys hearing that and just being like, he can never be that for her, just because of how other people see him, and that just, oh, breaks my heart.
So easy to be your friend. Like, you're such an easy person to be friends with. And the fact that, like, they have to ruin it in order to get the book, and now they're blood enemies for a bit. Don't love.
Yeah.
That was rough.
I think that's the hardest part of the Summer Court, like the whole Summer Court experience, is that like Tarquin is clearly such a cool guy and like wants to be friends with Rhys and Feyre, and you want that so bad, and there's like no way around it. And like having read it now again, I do fully agree that like they would not have given them the book if they'd asked. So it's like at the very least there isn't that like, ooh, like we could have gone about it a different way, but it sucks. The Blood Rubies is one of my favorite like pieces just because of Amryn like keeping it as a paperweight.
She
Varian
did get a
sending her.
necklace.
Yep, Varian sends her that necklace as like a hey, please don't like kill everyone in the Summer Court. Okay, thanks.
And she keeps it on her nightstand. Like, how cute is that?
She's got such a crush. It's so cute. I would read like a whole like at least a short story between the two of them from their point of view.
Yeah, I love like Feyre's comments about them too, because it was like, oh, I forget what the line was. Like Amryn was hungry or something, and it looked like she could eat Varian.
Yes. Or like
Something like that.
yeah, he can't tell if he wants me or wants to kill me. Like I just love that vibe.
Feyre was like, why not both? You're like, Amryn's like, girl, you ain't wrong.
And then they end up being together, which is great. And I'm looking forward to that part. But yeah, Tarquin's awesome. I also love going to another court, and I think we all agree that we can't wait to see other courts like further on in this series. Yeah, I want to go to Winter.
Oh, for real, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go to Autumn.
We've like stepped a foot into Autumn in
Yeah.
Akawar, but not enough.
Yeah, I just feel like it would be super
During a
interesting
chase.
seeing how the politics work there.
Not well, like monarchy style.
Pretty
Just
backwards.
Baron being the worst.
Yeah. But no, I agree. It would be nice to see all of them at one point just to get like a better look into them. And like I guess we saw Dawn too. We go to Dawn in Akawar, but like not enough. Like not like we
Yeah,
see
not enough.
the Summer Court. Yeah. What other favorite scenes did people have? Elena, you mentioned the Court of Nightmares scene. Why do you love that one so much? Do you want to pick that one apart for us?
There's just so much tension everywhere between everyone, especially Rhys and Feyre, but also when he absolutely destroys Moore's dad.
Yeah, he gets wrecked.
Like, don't you dare.
I don't know if I forgot this or if I didn't realize it in previous readings, but I was surprised learning that like Reese that wasn't part of the plan. Like shattering his arm wasn't part of the plan. Like I think they were just supposed to distract Kier. But then when Kier calls Feyre a whore, Reese like loses his mind and breaks his arm in a million pieces. And I was like, "Oh, that's right."
We love that.
Norman then says he can't have it healed.
Yeah. Green flag in our book right now.
Read.
It's
Right.
basically touch her and die. It's just like a little light.
Yeah.
'Cause he just
Like
is dead.
in almost any other situation, it would be awful and we wouldn't love it. But he basically said who hurt you before he did it, and that makes it okay.
Mhm.
Well, like appreciate the fact that it's not just that he called her a whore. Like Reese is looking for an excuse to hurt him. Like it's not like sure, like would love it anyway, but also love it because like he is waiting for an excuse to mess him up because of all the things he did with Moore.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all like waiting for an excuse to mess up Moore's family. I love those friend vibes. Yeah. Speaking of, how do we feel about Moore and like all the stuff that we learn about her in this section? Like any new insights? How do we feel?
Was it last episode that we were talking about like what is Moore's power? Like just
Yes.
I
wanting to
think so, yeah.
understand. I'm still at that point. I still don't understand.
Yeah.
I mean, my first read through, I really liked her. I liked how she was very like welcoming to Feyre, like made her feel really safe. Um, but then there were moments with Cassian and Az that made me a little uncomfortable, especially knowing like how she is in the Aqua or like her truth.
Mhm.
Um, so what like reading those scenes kind of make me uncomfortable. Like I just like why it just feels like she's leading them on because none of them know the truth about her.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
but I
just
did
two
catch
guys
that.
lusting after a lesbian, and you're like, this is not gonna work.
Yeah, like it's not gonna work. But there were just like little hints that like she knows immediately when Az gets to the House of Wind and like giving him looks and he's giving her looks and it's just I don't know, it's just
Yeah. I
What do
think
you
that
guys
it all
think?
yeah, I think that it all translates to especially like Cassian at this time. I think that we're supposed to read it the first time as like Cassian's still into her, but I think it's that Cassian is like he is a smokescreen like in between her and Az because he realizes that she doesn't love Az and he doesn't want Az to get hurt. So I think that, he's just trying to be her friend, but also like, be that like funny, like guy friend that, will they, won't they kind of thing. But I mean, like, I don't fault more really because we know that the amount of grief that she would get in her life if people knew that she liked women would be awful for her, which sucks. And we all hope that that will change soon. But I get why she won't tell people.
I mean, it's not the first lesbian relationship. There was someone that she knows like who's I'm gonna butcher the name, Sephron.
Oh, the seraphim.
The angels.
Yeah,
Not as close I thought I was.
seraphim. Yeah, but I don't think that
Yeah.
we learn
So
about them until Akawar.
yeah, not until Aquawar. But it's just like that concept is, or that type of relationship, it's not new, is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to say.
and Thesson, right? Of Dawn, he is like in love with his general, who is a guy.
Mhm. Yeah.
But still, there aren't a lot,
I wanna know more
or
about
like
them too.
there aren't
Yes.
enough.
Not enough.
No. Um, but yeah,
And
I had a lot of fun in this read through, like trying to pick up on the different moments where, especially Moore and Amarin, because they're the ones that know about recent Feyre, just make those little like, you should go spend time with him, or like he's really nice. And I liked
yeah,
all of those those little moments.
yeah. I do like her sassiness.
And she's just such a good friend. Like, Moore is such a good friend, and I think it's in this section
No,
that
she
Feyre, like,
is.
apologizes for being kind of a bitch when they first met. And Moore's like, "Girl's okay." You wanna talk about Cassian?
Well, I was gonna say, like, we meet the bad boys in this section,
We do. Yeah.
or at least in detail, yeah.
Yeah, our 2
Immediately,
favorite
we love
Illyrian
them,
warriors. Yes.
yeah. There was, like, a bit of an info dump, so during the second or I guess the first read, I didn't pick up on a lot of them or remember exact details, but the second time around, I'm like, "Oh, they there's a lot of info." Like, their backgrounds of Illyrians.
Yeah. I always forget that Illyrians are, like, a lesser fae. Like, even though they don't have scales or, like, bark like skin like Alice does, and, they, like, look very much like high fae except for their wings, but they are, like, a lesser fae, which, every time I read it, I'm like, "Oh, right." Yeah.
First Cassian Nesta moment.
Oh, yes, there is. Since
She's
they're
so
your
mean to
favorite
him.
couple, yeah, tell us
Tension
all
from the
about Cassian
start.
and Nesta.
She's so mean to him. It's so funny.
The best part is
But
that
he also, like, eggs her on too.
I
and him
know.
being mean to her is why she's into it, which I love. Like, or her being mean to him is why he's into her, and I love that.
I think it's cute all the foreshadowing that happens where they're like fighting, but it's you know.
Yeah. I also like the quick moment where Cassian has like come back, they say like, "Oh, he like went to go check on things in the mortal realm," and then when he comes back, he's like in a super bad mood when he's training Feyre. And like if you never read the deleted chapter, you have no idea what happened. And I just always think of that
Right.
deleted scene between the two of them.
Such a good
Chapter.
scene.
You don't remember the deleted chapter with Cassian and Nesta? Oh, well, everyone should go read that if they haven't yet, since we didn't say that
Yep.
we were going to discuss it, so we probably shouldn't. But spoiler alert, it's hot AF, so
It was in part of, Wings and Ruin as, like, some exclusive. I can't remember which, maybe Target or Barnes& and Noble, but it was just playing out the scene, between Cassian and Nesta when he comes to visit to check up on them and the letters to the mortal queens.
it's
Should
real
not miss it.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, real good.
real good. We'll
Go
just
back, go
discuss
and
that.
find it.
Yeah, we'll discuss that one in the next episode. Britt, you know what? Just to be safe, read all of the deleted chapters before the next episode. We'll talk about them then.
Mhm.
Actually, I think there's only one for this book. I think the other ones are in other books chronologically. So just this one, and then you'll be good. Yeah. Um, but yeah, Cassian and Nesta's immediate, just like, I hate you and I think that's hot, like moment is just so good. How do we feel about Azriel? And then like also Azriel meeting Elaine and all of that.
No chemistry.
You don't have to get closer to the mic to try to convince us that she's going to be with Tamlin. um, I disagree with no chemistry, but go ahead, Elena. You go first. How do you feel about
Yeah,
Az
please.
and then Az and Elaine meeting?
I mean, I love Az. I also like love getting his backstory and hearing about him. But again, when they meet, just don't feel it. Not much going on there. Like
Mm,
Cassian and Nesta, you can just tell. Like you can
mm,
see it, and I feel like you don't get that with Az and Elaine.
mm. What about you, Jamie?
I love meeting Az, because we got to read about, his background, which is very sad. But there's obviously still more. There hasn't been any, not there hasn't been any, but he hasn't gone into detail about his past. It's just what, you know, Reese has shared. Um, what else? His shadows are very interesting. I think I didn't pick up on the fact that they were a bit like sentient.
Mm,
That they talked to him. So that was interesting.
yep.
And it made me think of, but we'll talk about Maspers at the end. About
I
him,
have got some
you know.
stuff to say, but yes,
Right.
that will come at the end. Yeah. I also love
Um,
Az. I couldn't pick a favorite. Favorite Bat Boy will not do it. They're just so great for different reasons. Like Cassian and Az have such great, like, unique relationships with Feyre and just like have such fun, different personalities, and I love them both.
I will say, I think that's my favorite thing about Az in this section is his friendship with Feyre. Like all the times when Feyre is like, "I want to go with Az." Fuck you, Reese.
It is great. And I think that she and Cassian have like a quicker, like stronger friendship. With
Mhm.
like the whole like we were basically abandoned as children and like had to fend for ourselves and like him training her. And I love that scene where he asks her about like the whole thing with Tamlin and she just like falls apart and like ends up burning through his training gloves with her fire magic. And he's just like he's such a supportive friend. And I think that we kind of get that with Az, but like not as much as when we get to Akawar and he's teaching Feyre how to fly. But he like is friends with her in such a different way.
mhm.
Yeah. So Jamie, do you see anything with the like whole Az Elaine hope?
It's very, very subtle. It's
Mhm.
not as like in your face. Elena.
Well,
It's not as
Elena,
in your face as Nesta and Cassian.
Elena, Jamie was very polite while you talked. She gets to talk about as an Elaine now. I'm trying to find textual evidence. Keep going.
Oh, probably should have written that down. Um, this one might be a stretch, but when they first meet, she's wearing a cobalt dress,
Mhm.
and his siphons are described as being cobalt. Again,
Yeah.
this could be a stretch, but it's just like one of those like tiny little. Can
Did
you hear
you
me?
just
Okay.
did you just bring in a sound effect for the podcast, Elena?
Did she?
Jamie, did you hear that?
I did. I thought it was me. I'm like, what? Am
No,
I getting alarmed?
no, Elena's giving you crickets. Because she's being
Elena.
salty.
Real
um,
rude. Real Nesta. Real Nesta of you.
I mean, if the shoe fits. Okay, here is my textual evidence. It's one line. All right, you're gonna be cut off. It's when they're sitting at dinner, and it just says, a faint smile bloomed upon Azriel's mouth as he noticed Elaine's fingers white knuckled on that fork, but he kept silent. It's just like a little moment where he appreciates like cute little like diminutive Elaine like ready to murder someone with a piece of cutlery. I don't know.
I
I
can't
don't know if
remember if it was the scene or no, it has to be, right? Like she says like his hands are beautiful. Was it this
Mhm.
book?
It's the next book.
Is
Yeah.
the next book? My bad. But
That's
again, like
okay.
they just have like very little subtle moments that happen throughout 3 books.
Yeah. And they're both just like the quiet, reserved ones of the group. But
Yeah. And
I'm gonna take away your sound privileges.
girl stop. Girl
um,
stop.
Elena, did you see anything in this section about Elaine that you think would like gear her better for someone else?
I don't think so. Not that comes to the top of my head, but I also didn't see anything that gave me big Elaine as vibes.
All right.
I mean, outside of like all of the normal stuff like her gardening and etc.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye out.
I
Yeah.
did like with Elaine that I immediately apologized to Feyre, and I also liked that when they have their reunion. So this was like after Feyre's turn, she goes back to the house and she sees like her family for the first time. Like Elaine just like no matter what, just accepted her, and even though she's a Fae now, and they were scared at them at first, you know.
Yeah.
And then there was something else too about Elaine. Oh, how she is always wanting to be like the peacekeeper. So when Nesta and Fair are always fighting, she'll try to get in between and just kind of like settle it.
Yeah. I also found that interesting and was paying special attention to like what Elaine did and said. And it's like everybody loves to be mean to Elaine and like, oh, she's boring or like she's not ever gonna do anything cool. And it's like, well, Nesta's just being
Yeah.
grumpy in the corner. Elaine's like, we need to help out Feyre because we don't want there to be a war. And like maybe we should do something about this. And I'm gonna send everybody home and like we're gonna start
Right.
like Elaine just like takes charge. Yeah.
Get it, Elaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a fair point about Elaine. Like taking out all the mean things you just said about
Really?
Nesta.
We love Nesta too. I'm just saying that, like, I think the fandom as a whole is very loud
Yeah.
about how much they love Nesta and about how boring Elaine is. And it's like, Elaine does cool shit too. It's just, I don't think that people appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good Elaine scene, her taking charge and like supporting Feyre, whereas Nesta would have sat back because God forbid she be helpful in this moment. I don't know. I just feel like Elaine like goes through like peaks and valleys where like sometimes Elaine is really like helpful and great, and then other times Elaine is kind of not doing much. Kind of like sad boy Lucian.
Let's talk about Lucian because Lucian comes back in this part. I mean, a lot happens in this part, so it's not like, oh yeah, Lucian, but he does come back. And again, I've been trying to be very open-minded about this whole thing. And I want to get both of your opinions on Lucian's actions in the forest because I think there are two very different ways to read this moment. And I want to just like, how do you guys feel about Lucian and Feyre and his intentions? The cricket.
I
you
just
just
found
you
effects today.
you don't feel anything about Lucian. Is
Yeah, you're
that
full of
what?
it.
No, I think it's crickets because like I don't have anything to say to him. He needs to fix himself. Everything he's doing is incorrect, and I disagree with it.
I think Lucian, like the moment that sticks out the most is when he goes to grab Feyre to presumably winnow them back to the spring court. And I think there are two ways we can see that. Either Lucian does not care what Feyre wants and is doing what Tamlin needs and is going to take her whether she wants to come or not. Or he does truly believe that she has been brainwashed and is trying to save her. And I don't know how I feel in this moment about what he does.
Could it be both?
Yeah, I feel like probably both with a little bit more of option number one. Like he
Mm.
clearly knows that she doesn't want to go with him. Like, and she left willingly. Like he was there in that moment when she left.
Yeah, I would agree problematic no matter what. And I'm trying to figure out like what percentage awful is it? Like is it a 30, 70? Like
Like there's he could do if he's genuinely worried she's being brainwashed. It's a why don't we go talk? Like, why don't I bring you to your sister's house? Like,
Mhm.
he doesn't need to bring her to the spring court to get her out of the situation she's in if he's concerned about the situation she's in. He's
Yeah.
more incentivized to bring her to Tamlin. Like, is his motivation.
Yeah.
Right, because one of his reasonings was like, he's not in a good place or something, right?
the spring court needs you. Like, it's not good without you. Like, please put this court before yourself like I do.
Yeah. I will say when I was reading it, it was so typical dialogue of like Feyre not coming out and saying things like, Tamlin hurt me and I have made the choice to not be with him anymore. Like the dialogue can definitely be taken in very much in a way of like Lucian feeling like her mind has been totally taken over by Rhys and like worried that Rhys is going to come get him and he needs to move quickly. But at the same time, like I agree with you, Alina. Like he could have just been like, look, I'm not gonna do anything you don't want to do, but I'm worried about you.
Yeah, like, can you and I go talk? Like, I want to talk to you as a friend and just hear what your current situation is.
Right. Yeah. And I think this is all like forgetting the reason that Feyre left too, because it wasn't like she went for her normal week and then just like didn't come back and they were super in love. It was like, no, dude, she had like a super bad meltdown and they saved her from the castle. And like there are witnesses to that. It's like, how did you take that and the letter and go, she must be brainwashed? Like, oh, Tamlin. Oh,
That
Tamlin.
I think that's part of the reason, like, when she said that, no, you failed, right? I'm not making that up, right?
No, you're not.
When she goes and say that, like, oh, that like broke my heart because like he was her friend.
Yeah. Yeah. When Rhys is like, I knew things were bad, but I thought Lucian would have done something. And it's like, we all did too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's definitely not perfect at this point, and I think Elena especially would argue that he's still not perfect by the time Silver Flames is over. But he's getting there.
No
For
one's
you, he's
perfect.
still not perfect in Silver Flames. I don't think you see enough of him in Silver Flames to really see where he's at.
Yeah,
That's fair.
you don't. You like, yeah, and you don't even see more either
Yeah, bring
because of
back
her
more.
place.
Yeah.
She's going to Valhallan. I want to check that out.
Yeah, Valhalla. No, not Valahan. Valahan?
The one that begins with a V.
The V one. There are those 3 parts of the
Across the
continent.
continent. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Tamlin. He isn't in this whole scene, but in this whole part of the book, this whole basically like 4/5 of the book. But he's very much like present as a force because Feyre does a lot of thinking like, what does Tamlin think? How are things going on in the spring court? Which then progresses into, I'm falling for Rhys and I feel really guilty about that because I was literally engaged and in love with this other guy like 3 weeks ago. How are we feeling about Tamlin? Like, do we have any different thoughts or feelings on him during this part?
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
How do you think he reacted when he got her letter that she wrote? Do you think he was like, I didn't know she could write. I didn't teach you that.
Okay. You get full sound privileges from here on out, no matter what
That
I
was
say.
accepted.
That
That
was
was good.
Wow. I thought you meant like how much of the castle did he destroy, but I love how your
I thought you
question
were
was, who wrote this?
No,
Because it's
that's a good
not
question
Feyre.
too. This
Feyre
couldn't be
can't
Feyre.
write.
She's
This is clearly forged.
Okay, so that's a really good point though, and I don't want to make excuses for Tamlin, but like, was he blindsided because of how, like, obviously he just does not get that she's not happy. Like, that does not compute to him. So I get how he could be like, she overreacted. Nobody needed to save her in that scene, even though we know that that's total bullshit. But then, yeah,
total bullshit because
he
she
gets
voiced it. She
total bullshit.
sorry.
No. But then
Yeah.
he gets a letter from Feyre, who couldn't read or write like a month ago.
Maybe he
Right.
did better if she had painted him locked in a house with her laughing outside.
Can you even imagine her painting, like, their breakup and then, like, sending it via carrier pigeon or something? Oh, man.
Hey, Alice, can you go drop this off?
He's the carrier pigeon. Oh my goodness.
We'll have to authenticate it and be like, "Yep, this is a work by Feyre."
Yeah, if only they could have FaceTimed or something to get through that
Yeah.
breakup. Yeah. So I
Yeah, it
don't know.
probably didn't help that, like, she cut him off completely. So it's, like, really, like, how how truthful is it that she really, like, left on her own?
Yeah.
Other than Alice telling him what happened or one
Mhm.
of the other spring courts.
And I do like in Tamlin's defense, I do believe that he also is just like very brainwashed and not very good at thinking outside of the box. Which is something that I hope he'll get better at. I don't know if he will, but I do like they were making a lot of comments about Feyre is a like basically a prize mare. Like all the High Lords are either gonna want to kill her or have babies with her. So like I get that if Tamlin just does not have critical thinking skills, which I don't think he does at this point, that he's hearing all this stuff from my auntie. He's like, of course she loves me. Oh my god, Reese stole her. And then Lucian comes back and he's like, she was definitely brainwashed. And then we know what happens at the end of this book.
Yeah, he just has, like, a different way of protecting the people that he loves. I mean, I understand, like, he also lost people that he loved, but it's just not the right way, and I agree with you, like, I don't think he has the critical thinking skills because he never wanted to be High Lord, and he could have made changes on his own, but he still kept the Tith. No other court has that, and then what's up with Calamai? Seriously, is that really needed?
I would really like to know. Like, I hope that comes up in a later book. Like, maybe there's a book in which Tamlin falls in love with someone and like he gets to redo this in a better way. And maybe they are critical thinking enough more than Feyre was in the first book to be like, do you have to? Like, is it strictly necessary? Because I also agree that Calamai is just gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a fan.
Mm.
So, how do we feel about Tamlin? On like a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being absolutely no, let him die, 10 being love him, he's just misunderstood. Like, where do we fall on the Tamlin scale?
6.5. Like, I think he's not amazing, but I do think he's very misled currently.
Mm.
Like, I do think he genuinely thinks she was taken and is being brainwashed.
How are you feeling, Jamie?
Probably lower than that. Maybe like a 4.
I feel like that's you being very generous.
Thank you.
I think for me at this point, I'm more around like a 5 or 6 area. I definitely end a lot higher than that by the end of Wings and Ruin for sure. But yeah, at this point, I'm not his biggest fan. I'm probably at like a 2 when we talk about this again in the next episode. But yeah, right now like a 5 or 6. Yeah. Oh, Tim Tam. Who else do we need to talk about? Did we talk about Amryn enough? Like, do we have anything
No, I
else to
feel like we
say?
can't talk about well, I feel like we can't talk about Amryn unless we talk about everything
Did we
Yeah.
talk about the
first.
bone carver? Was that this section?
Oh,
No.
yes.
Was it?
Right?
I think
This
it was.
section
Bone
it
Carver when he
was
visits the bone yeah, Bone Carver the Weaver. Oh, we gotta talk
This
about the
is such a
Weaver.
long section.
so
Such a good
much.
section, though.
Bone Carver, take it away, Jamie. How'd you feel?
Um, did not pick up that it was, like, her future child. Like, cause he had the hair of Reese, the eyes like her. Um, but I thought it was interesting, like, whoever sees him sees something different.
Yeah.
Definitely was
You
creeped out,
see?
but I liked how Feyre handled it and, you know, the scene where she details her death basically was also heart-wrenching. And then knowing that there was like that bond and mating bond between them was
Yeah.
nice.
How'd you feel about the bone
Yeah.
carver, Elena?
Reese, I'm trying to remember and I can't think of it.
He's in the prison. Sh- They come down with the bone from the worm.
Midgard worm.
Yes. I was like, Brooke knows how to say it. I don't. It's a worm.
Just to be clear, this was me stabbing the Midgard worm with a bone. I just wanted to be clear. That's what that was.
Not the bone shard.
It was the
No,
bone shard.
I know, but like Pharisee's their son, but I'm trying to remember who Reese said he always sees.
Oh, he shows up differently
Oh,
for
he did.
him, but he shows up as Jurian in this scene for Reese.
Ah, that's what it is.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I do like
Um,
he made a joke, right? Something about oh, tell me something that no one else knows. Oh, my knee aches when it rains or
Yeah.
something.
Yep. He's like, no one else knows you had to be more specific. Yeah.
Oh,
I
these
love
fairies.
I love the bone carver, and we have already warned people that we're going to spoil things, so I don't have any problem saying this, but it was like especially poignant to me with the bone carver asking so many questions of Feyre, like about what death was, and just thinking about how the bone carver dies in Court of Wings and Ruin. And I was just
Oh my
like,
god, that's right.
I just like that connection. And I'm sure that SJM like knew that he was going to die in the later books, and just like his clear, like, maybe not fear, but just like interest in death. And I'm like, oh, he knows what it's like now.
Oh, Brooke.
Made me sad. I love the bone carver. Like, he's such a fun character.
Uh, creepy little guy.
weirdly.
Oh, man. Yeah. And we get to see him one more time in this book,
Mhm.
or like at the beginning of
Yep.
Akawar.
With Cassian, right? She goes down with Cassian.
She
Oh, that's in
does.
Silver Flames. No, it's not. He's
No.
dead in Silver
No.
Flames.
Feyre goes down, yeah, with
But I
him
think it
again.
might be in Wings and Ruin. I don't think there's enough book
Mhm.
left for that to be in this.
Yeah, there's
Um
only so much you can fit, and it's mate stuff and Tam being a Tam.
I mean, the worst part of the end of this book is that 3 chapters of it are just Feyre hanging out in a lodge, painting the walls with people's
Dude.
eyes.
For 2 weeks,
Smart.
right? Wasn't it like 2 weeks or
I
something?
forget how long, but it's like 3 chapters.
It was too long. It was too long. Like,
Too
girl,
long.
come on.
Well, because we just read 51, and 54 is my favorite chapter. So yeah, it's like 2 full chapters of her just painting walls. I'll bitch about that at the next episode, but um yeah.
I think you're gonna be too busy to remember to complain about that.
Like, we'll just pretend that this part starts at 54. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So Bone Carver's amazing. But yeah, Jamie, you
Yeah.
also you reminded us that the Weaver was in this part. How do we feel about the Weaver?
Right.
Wedding
She was
ring,
also creepy.
wedding ring, wedding ring.
Yeah, nothing like risking your own life to steal your own engagement ring from a otherworldly cannibal. Yeah.
And climb up a chimney of death.
That scene is so visceral for me every time. It's like her nails scrabbling into the brick and just like the
Oh,
human grease and hair. And
Mm,
every time I'm just like, I don't feel clean.
yeah, it's
yeah.
detailed.
So detailed.
Like, she's cool, but it was also very, very creepy.
She's so cool. Like, and I really noticed in this one that Reese mentions that the Weaver is like the apex predator, like of Prithian. I was like, I believe that. Bitch is scary.
Isn't
For real.
house thatched with human hair?
Yes. She weaves it into yarn and tapestries and then
Yep.
also thatches her roof with it because she's got so
Yeah,
much of it.
she's a real hoarder.
Yes.
Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah. Um, I will say I read like 4 times the other items that Feyre sees in the Weaver's cottage. I didn't find
Go on.
anything, but I don't know if
Oh,
there was something to find. I just wanted to note that because I don't have anything to report, so it's not a spoiler, but I just paid extra close attention to what was on the shelves, and at some point we could read that, or like if anybody else thinks that one of those things, one of those knickknacks is important, let me know. I want to know.
What were they? No, I don't.
I
I did not pay close attention to what the knickknacks were.
I mean,
I didn't either. Or
I keep my eye on shelves. I don't know what chapter it would have been. It would have been like in the beginning-ish.
Uh-huh.
31 maybe?
It would have been really early because this is what like he does to distract her from the fact that she's going through a breakup.
Right. They go to the
one of the
Weaver.
things.
Do they go to the Weaver in between bone carver visits? Like, because there's the bone carver attempt, and then Feyre's like, I cannot
Right.
go
I think
into a
the
cave.
bone. Yeah, no, I think the bone carver was first.
Hmm.
Oh, everyone's looking, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it quick enough. And like I said, oh wait, nope, found it. Okay, hold on.
Nice, Brooke.
Where I just kept flipping, and then all of a sudden at the top of the page, I see the all in capitals, "Where are you?" And I was like, I know that unhinged voice. Um,
Oh,
yeah.
an old letter knife, books and leather I didn't want to touch or smell. Ew. A handful of acorns, a tarnished crown of ruby and jasper.
Yeah.
The crown feels like it could be.
Well,
Yeah.
and the Ruby and Jasper didn't sound familiar to me specifically, but I kept like reading those items. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I
But
mean, it sounds similar to the necklace that Amryn got from Summer Court.
mm, yeah,
Just different descriptors.
the rubies. But things to keep in mind just in case they come back up.
Mhm.
Um but yeah, Weaver's cool. Very scary. Love her. Love what she does in the next book, which I can't wait to talk about. But yeah, she's great.
Kind of
Um,
sorry. I know this is like what is it? An Aqua War spoiler, but if this we're doing a reread, everyone should be aware that
go
like
for
all
it.
these creatures have died.
Yeah,
All of them.
yeah, yeah. The Surreal eats it, and then the Bone Carver and the Weaver both die in the war. Yeah,
And
sad.
they're siblings.
There seems like he sucks.
Yeah. Bryaxis is like the only one that makes it out. But we
I was just
haven't.
gonna ask, like, does he make it? Yeah.
I think he's definitely alive. I think the question is just where is he?
Right. She just doesn't go back to the library.
No, he does not. He got
Just
something
out in
better
the
than a
wild.
window.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, what else? Anything else that people were thinking about, wanted to talk about? Starfall? We should probably talk about Starfall. I could gush about Starfall for like a full 50 minutes.
I love Starfall.
Fall in this section.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
should put a pin on it. Talk about Massverse with Starfall.
We definitely do need to discuss Starfall separately. But just like the whole scene, I just loved it. Just that little piece of Reese that we learned that like Amarantha was extra mean to him on Starfall, and like how much Starfall means to
Oh
him,
my
and
god.
just yeah, him sharing his first Starfall after being, in prison for 50 years with Feyre. And their little moment during Starfall is just so cute.
So cute. I
Love
love
it.
what she's wearing.
Oh, that
Them
dress.
dancing. Night away.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
laugh between them, the smiles. She gives him a kiss on the cheek, and I remember reading it and just being like, oh, they should have just kissed.
You got so close, but you missed, Feyre.
I know. Would have been a real good moment. But she was still with Tamlin. Good reaction.
He wasn't still with Tamlin. She'd already written him that letter. He's not paying attention. Yeah. Starfall.
Mm-hmm. What else? I don't know if we want to talk about the Mortal Queens.
Oh, we should.
I know they made an appearance. Yeah. I do have like a little note thing about them when we talk about mass first. But I thought it was interesting that they said that they have the power to wino, and that it was gifted by the Fae.
Power to wino.
I knew I was gonna butcher it. I didn't know.
I liked picturing them as like older women just like banging like bottles of red wine, just pouring it back. Winnowing, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry. How many of them are there? Because I felt like I was counting them wrong.
I think
There's the oldest, there's the youngest, there's like a set of twins,
there are
and there was like a
5.
set of opposites.
I
5?
think there's 5.
Oh, and one that wasn't there, but is a mortal
Yeah.
queen,
Yes,
right?
there
Yeah.
were 5 present. Because there's the
Mhm.
younger one who like does them a huge solid. Yeah. Gets super dead. There's Brielyn, whose name we don't know in this book, but she's like the old one that's awful. Then there's like a second old one that never comes up again, and then the 2 twins that are like the black and white opposites.
Okay, yeah, those were okay.
Yeah. But basically 3 of them don't matter. And then there's the young one and the old
Yet?
one. Right, yet. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they just kind of suck right now, and I think they continue sucking.
What
Yeah.
continues sucking? Mortal
The
Queens?
queens.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they're the actual worst. And it makes me wonder a lot about the continent and what that's like and where it is and what its name is.
And
But yeah.
yeah, it
Tune
makes me
into the
wonder
part
what
where
their
if you
true
haven't read the
intentions.
other books.
I'm okay to transfer. We can take a trip over to Mossverse land if we're
It felt fitting talking about the
Ooh.
continent whose name we don't know.
right. Jamie, was
Ooh,
there a
what?
non-Mossverse thing you wanted to discuss?
Oh my god, I'm gonna butcher the name again. The Wraths?
Do it.
Race.
Wraiths. Wraiths.
What are their names? Nuala?
Oh,
And
Nuala and
Oh,
Caradwyn.
yeah, they make appearance again.
Yeah.
And we learn a little bit about them that they're half fae, half.
Wraith.
Thank
Yes.
you.
You're welcome.
That As taught them to be spies. They can walk through walls, which is really cool. Kind of makes sense that they're friends with Elaine.
Yes. Yeah. No, I love Nuala and Caradwyn. And I hope that we see more of them as the books progress. I like their characters.
Mm-hmm. I liked them in ACOTAR, and I wanted to know more, but
maybe in
Yeah,
Alice's
they were
book.
just in the background.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Mhm.
keep noticing that, they keep talking about like Az's informants and whatnot. And I'm like, are they all just shadows? Are they actual people? And like, I can't wait until we find out. Because Reese is always like,
Yeah.
get your informants out. And I'm like, do they have to? Are they corporeal? Like, I have no idea. Yeah. Lots of cool stuff coming up. But yeah, if that's all, which I think we got through all of it or most of it. If we didn't, come chat with us on the Discord about your favorite scenes, any characters you want to dig into. But we're going to just make some quick some quick mentions about things in other books. So if you have not fully read everything that Sarah J. Maas has written, this will hold spoilers for you. So sign off now, go catch up, and yeah, we'll meet you back here next week for our finale of A Court of Mist and Fury. Where do we want to start? What do we have to say?
I need to find my screenshots.
So excited.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I have for Mass first. We have I don't even know where to start. Sorry.
Just
What
pick
about
one.
Stimati? They said it's a rare trait.
Mm.
Reese has it. Who else in Mossverse has it? That looks
Wait,
like
no one?
Reese.
You mean mind reading abilities? You mean teleporting?
I don't know. Tell us, Jamie.
Well, I guess it's a mix of two. Rune. Rune that looks like Reese.
Yeah.
With a mind bridge and stuff too. And
Yeah.
then the shadows. As the shadows, like, so the question is as the shadows like Rune's shadows? Like, because I don't remember if Rune's shadows were sentient.
I think that they are.
Do either of you remember?
I don't remember. Maybe?
I
I
know
don't
they
think
cloak.
so.
You know, they cover and hide things.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember, but I want to say yes.
Either. I was gonna say no, so
So it's
find out
one
in
of
book
those.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, do we think Rune has Demati powers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Samadhi,
Okay.
yes. Shadow singing, uncertain.
Fair.
Both. Because we all
Know who
know
else has Samadhi powers?
who.
Who?
My boy Cormac. May he rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Corman.
Ooh, I already forgot him. I'm sorry.
You beautiful fireball. Flushed Cormac. Just flushed him
Beautiful
right out.
fireball equals no body, no death.
No body, no death. Show me the body. Yes. There's a lot of power stuff that I was trying to keep track of. And that wasn't even part of it. That like I totally that went right out. But like
When you say
Moore's
power stuff, what do you mean?
Moore's power
Moore's power.
was one of Moore and Amryn specifically. Like I kept really trying to figure out like, is Amryn just like a demigod? Is she like a god beast? Is she just a god? What is Amryn?
Like,
Could
is
she
she
be
an
an
Asteri?
Asteri? There we go.
I don't know. And I think we've asked ourselves that before, but I don't know if she is
Yeah.
an Asteri.
Why doesn't she like Starfall?
I did
Why
know
doesn't
that.
she like Starfall?
Yeah,
But
why does she
then
doesn't like Starfall?
we have to ask ourselves, what is Starfall?
Souls.
I don't think so.
But I don't know either, because why does it only happen one day a year, and it just happened to
Yep.
be the day that Aelin fell through all of the holes too?
Yep.
Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I was trying to wrap my head around like how Aelin happened the day that Starfall happened to be one of the stars.
So we know that like using portals has basically been shut down in Throne of Glass in Aurelia. And I'm wondering if Starfall is like when portal movement is like being done, or is like that's when the portals are open. But I don't think that they're like soul dust because Aelin comes through during Starfall and she's not like a soul. She's a person.
The goo hits Feyre's face. Like, the
Yeah.
goo hitting Feyre's face, I was like, what is this goo?
Well, and it's like a dust. It's like a
Yeah,
powdery.
Stardust.
It's like, yeah. And I think it's just like it's the portal like movement. It's like the portal magic.
Oh, because they used portals other days in. Like,
I
it
don't
just
know.
like I can't wrap my head around why it's just this one day that you can see it.
Or it's like the Aurora Borealis, and Starfall is like the only time that you can actually see the portal magic from Prithian. I don't think
It's
they're
just
souls
interesting
though.
that like no one knows.
Yeah.
No one knows
Well,
why.
I don't know if they're souls, but they're people, right? Like Aelin is one of the people falling.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think that SJM would have two people die on Feyre and Reese's face to give us a cute rom-com moment. That's just my thought.
Oh, but I could be part of the portal, but then also somehow I don't know.
Yeah. But I
Also, because
did
I think I was just gonna say if it's the portals, if it's like the portals opening, I don't know why Amryn wouldn't like it. Like you would think Amryn would want like be drawn to it because like she wants to go home at this point.
I don't think she does though. I think that's what we learn is that
Maybe.
like Amryn never really wanted to go home. Like she wanted to be
Hmm.
human and like her godfather like gave her the ability to like have a human body. I think it's that Amryn is like doesn't like the thought of going back home, and that's when like the portal is like most open, or because we know that the portals are also closed on Prithian. They closed when the Asteri left, so I don't know. I don't know if like Starfall for Prithian is just like the one night where they could potentially travel to other worlds. I don't know.
I thought she did want to go home, but maybe I'm misremembering.
I think they
But
think that
we
she
know that
wants
she's
to.
really old.
Yes.
Yeah. She's super old. And did they say why she was imprisoned? I forget.
Nope. But
And then how did she get out?
she like we do know that she basically turns into like this badass firebird and like murders everyone in Wings and
The
Ruin.
Drake?
Yeah. So like she's not, I don't know. She's something. It's like,
Definitely something.
did the gods like have these creatures like the bone carver and the weaver and Amryn and stuff, and did they like put them through the portals? Are the gods the Asteri? I don't know.
Is
I
she
don't
an
know.
Asteri?
I know. I know.
She could be
Yeah.
anything.
She doesn't have an iPod charger though.
True.
But Moore's power too, which I know that like nobody knows what her power is, and I was really trying
Mhm.
to pay attention to her power, and all we hear is that it's truth.
All I picked up was that her family has that orb, Veritas or something.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Right, which is the truth orb, and she says that her power is truth. Um, and now I'm forgetting what the line was, and I'm probably not going to be able to find it. But I had this thought, and it was, what if, like, and I think it was that Reese has this moment where he says that, like, Moore is so powerful that he will only send her out when Cassian and Azriel are dead, and there's, like,
Yeah.
no hope. And I'm not saying that Moore's not badass. Like, we've seen her with a sword in Wings and Ruin. Like, she clearly can hold her own and is, like, a force to be reckoned with, power aside. But if her power is like, if she's so powerful that that is when he would bring her in, I'm wondering if her power of truth is more a power of time. And if, like, she is some sort of time bomb where she can affect truth in, like,
Jeez, sorry.
we are gonna like stop time, we're gonna turn it back, we're gonna like bring it forward. And I'm just wondering if it's something where like she would have to sacrifice herself or like have some sort of like major, like there's got to be a big reason why she doesn't do it in Akawar. I just kept thinking that, why does Mora not use her power in Akawar? And it's because Cassian and Azrael are not dead and there's no need to use her.
Making Moore's power sound like she has the reality stone from the Avengers.
But I'm wondering if that's it. Like, I'm wondering if she truly, like, has the ability to change truth itself.
Maybe,
Like
but
a
how would she know that?
yeah, I
I
don't know.
I also just
Interesting
tried to
take
look it up
though.
on Reddit, and Reddit also has no clear answer.
Elena, you are the worst.
We've read
Always can
it all.
count on
There's nothing
Elena
for them to
to look things
spoil.
up.
I just wanted to know if anyone had thoughts that I was missing.
Do you guys have any thoughts? Like, have you thought about, like, why Moore's power could be that, like, that diabolical?
No idea.
No.
No,
Yeah. I
nope.
don't know. That's my best theory at this point, is that because that's the only way that I think that, if everyone is dead, Moore comes in. And it's like, what would she be able to do in that situation? And she would be able to, like, turn time back to, like, be able to give them another chance or, like, stop time.
Is for the lyre or whatever it is.
The Lear?
The harp thing. Is it a
Oh,
harp?
the liar? It's a liar. Yeah, and right. So there is a precedent that's already been, well, not already at this point, but there is a precedent that's been set in the Akatar world for time travel. The, like, stopping of time. Did you guys also notice that Feyre seems to potentially have the ability to slow time down? There were
Probably not.
two
What?
times in her fight to get Reese back that she turned
when
into
she when she
when she turns into
winnows.
shadow, when she winnows. But
Winnow.
it's specifically twice. It talks about how time slowed down, and I think I never noticed it before because it reads like it could be, and maybe I'm all wet and this is totally wrong, but it reads like, oh, like, I was in a life or death situation, so time really slowed down. But I think, like, time actually slowed down because I think that Feyre is very capable. She kills like 8 people because she's just, like, winnowing and they can't catch her.
That was a very badass scene, by the way.
So
I
badass.
remember
We didn't talk about that.
she's come so far too, right? Remember when she was just PTSD, like horrified that she had to kill those Fae. When it comes to Reese, nuh-uh. Easy
I love
kills.
her. I love her so much.
Do not talk about the one bed at the end scene.
We
The
didn't.
classic
Oh, we did
one
not.
bed trope.
There was only one bed.
There was only one bed.
We could talk about it and I could splice it into the earlier episode.
People can
No,
just
this is
still be
perfect. This is
listening.
fine.
Yeah.
It relates to other Moss universe things. What else is there a one bed trope? Like when Lorcan
The one
when they
tent.
were at the one tent.
That's
Yes.
true. They do have one tent trope.
Mm-hmm.
I love them too. I miss them.
They're so cute.
There's definitely a second time that I did not highlight, but it literally says, and this is Feyre, 2 other scouts patrolled just inside the cave mouth, watching those at the front. I was there and vanished before they could spot me. I rounded the corner, time slipping and bending, and my night dark eyes burned at the light. And I know there's another time earlier that she talks about time
It
slowing
makes
down.
sense. It makes
Yep.
sense when you. Oh God, I'm gonna mess it up again. Winnow.
Winnow. Yeah.
Winnow.
Yep.
Because you're moving from one spot to another. In a sense, you're almost skipping time.
Yeah.
True.
So I don't know. I don't know if maybe she also has something because I still desperately want her to come back and, fight whatever forces are coming. I mean, I guess we're in the Mossverse portion, so when we
Mhm.
assemble the Moss Avengers, I really want her to be part of it, and I just
The
thought it'd be
Moss
cool.
Adventures.
The Moss Avengers. Yeah.
Love it.
I was just looking through my screenshots, and the other thing that was weird about Starfall was Reese's comment that there are like less and less of the stars, and like why that is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a weird thing to add.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was because of less and less portal use, but I don't know.
Could it also be because of the curse?
Which curse?
Because he hasn't Amarantha's curse.
Oh, maybe.
I mean,
Maybe.
this is the first, Starfall that he's been in 50 years.
Mhm. Yeah,
Just I don't know.
I don't know either. Starfall is a mystery. It is very
But
cool.
we like it.
Oh, we love it. Yeah. Did you guys notice that Truth Teller has runes on it? Just
Of
like
course I didn't.
runic
Mhm.
markings on it?
Uh-huh.
That's
Weird.
it.
Wonder what those are.
That's it. That's all I got.
Did
Word
you guys notice
marks.
the wells and symbols on the temple ruin at the summer court?
I did notice those ones.
Yes. Yes, I did.
And they were glowing? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because I think we know at this point that like Crescent City is a mix of people that were taken from both Throne of Glass and Akatar. But it's like it's so interesting to me that it does seem like there are word marks in Prithian too. It's like
Oh, yeah.
does does it mean that they're the same planet? I don't think so, but maybe I don't know.
Could be. But like we also very specifically know that Crescent City, the people were taken from the mountain.
Yeah,
Like they were taken
from the prison.
from the prison.
Hmm.
Were there also markings on the doors of the prison, or am I just imagining that now? Is it just the bone
Might have
carvers
been.
drawings I'm thinking of?
It might just be the bone carver's drawings,
I
but I don't
think
know
the
for
bone
sure.
carver. Yeah.
But yeah. Um I feel like I had one more. Oh, the other thing that I noted about Amryn is that her eyes are described as lightning. Feyre describes them as being like lightning. And I was wondering if perhaps Amryn comes from the same people that Hunt came from. If potentially
Ooh.
they are connected, since we are still wondering who Hunt's
Yeah.
parents are, but it seems like they are probably, like, at least one of Hunt's parents is probably some sort of minor deity.
That's a really cool catch.
Yeah. I don't know. Just a thought, just throwing it out there to drive everyone crazy.
But
Oh,
I
I
love it.
I did note that shadow singers are rare. And like, do we think at this point that shadow singing is the power of the Dusk Court? Because um,
I don't
it's like the one court that was annihilated during the time that the Asteri were in Prithian, and it's super rare. It's like the one power that we don't see all that much.
Maybe. I don't necessarily know because, like, then it could be like a theory that Az is like hidden, like High Lord there, but since he's Illyrian, he's not High Fae.
But he's a mix, and they talk about how he is the bastard of his father.
Mhm.
Um, and maybe his mom is like a descendant of the Dusk Court.
Maybe. I don't
I don't
know.
know. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because
Why
it's like the one power that we don't see a lot of. Do you
Yeah.
guys
Wait,
want
so
to go
is
The
As
one.
down?
parents? Are As parents both Illyrians?
No. So
No.
Az's dad is High Fae, and
Oh
Az's
Lord.
mom, I
Okay.
think, is Illyrian. So maybe it's the other way around. Maybe Az's dad is descended from the Dusk Court.
Do we have any other like what else do we know about the Dust Court other than it was obliterated?
I don't think we know much. Like a lot of what we find out is at the end of um Sky and Breath. And there's just one mention of it in this section of Mist and Fury where it's either Reese or Cassian mentions like this island that was probably another court at one point.
And that's a separate
Fun.
island from Miriam and Draken, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But I always thought it was the island the prison's on. Is that not?
No, I think it's meant to be the small island that's off the coast of the Night Court. It's like, oh, we're
Oh,
here. Like this little guy.
Yeah, I was looking at him
Oh,
now.
interesting. I always thought it was the island on the prison just because we know the people from the prison were taken.
Maybe it is. Maybe that's where the Dust Court is. Oh, and maybe that's what Reese was saying. Maybe he was talking about the island that the prison was on when he was saying that it was
I
probably
mean,
another court at one point.
I think it would make the islands you were pointing
Mm.
to would make more sense because they're between the day court and the night court versus the prison is kind of in clear night court territory, but
No, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't
I think you
know.
might be right, Elena. I think that might have been why Reese was talking about it because they were going to the prison and he was talking about the. At some point, he just said like the island that was probably another court at one point in their history. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it would make sense for the island to be in between night and day, right?
Yeah, like have dusk
For
be right.
yeah,
No, I know.
yeah.
Thematically, it's
It
beautiful.
just seems like it's it seems to be like in a certain order.
No, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Thank you.
Um, but
Yeah, that
yeah.
was like my other note. I didn't unfortunately I didn't write too much, but I just wrote Prithian's formation like
Mm,
as a math first note, but unfortunately I don't have anything else for that.
yeah. Yeah. And then like the question of is hell or something on the continent, and I keep looking for notes, but other than the one that Elena found, um, that you sent to us about the black land that they were talking about, but it just doesn't seem to line up with either with Aurelia. So I think if anything, it would be hell.
Yeah, it doesn't like it definitely doesn't line up with like all those people disappeared. I think like 10,000 years ago. Like Silver Flames like continually brings up. I forget if it's 10 or 12 or 20, but it's like several thousand years ago.
Yeah.
And this is like 500 years ago. So like just before Reese was born, they're talking about some like real bad place where it was terrible to be born human, and he brings up a queen who makes Amarantha look like Elaine, but he never like names the queen. He's just like
Mhm.
there was a really bad queen lady, and I was like, know who else is a really bad queen lady? Maeve.
Yeah. But like unless Maeve did something before Aurelia, I don't think that it lines up with Aurelia because Aurelia is very much like pro-human and
Yeah.
anti-fae. But
I was thinking like that it's Maeve before she leaves potentially, but like she's not really ruling. Like she escapes because like she's kind of like I think the kings took more power there than she really did.
yeah. They did.
So I it's just a big question mark in my head for like who is this mystery evil queen?
Yeah. Did she
Mhm.
they've it's gotta be significant. Like it's gotta come up down the line at some point.
Like the fact it's called the Blacklands and it just
Yep.
I don't know.
Like the red
Made me
waste.
think of like oh yeah. It just brings me back to when we read um Sky and Breath and we meet like I think we made a comment about how like oh hell has grass.
So
I
good.
think I'm still on the boat that like hell is just not anything that has been mentioned.
And it might not. Some of these theories are definitely too deep. You want to hear
But we
one
love
more?
them.
You want to hear the craziest one? Because I think I've become unhinged, and I'm now wondering about everyone that enters the book dead, and I'm just wondering if you guys think that possibly Reese's mom and sister are not dead.
No, I don't think that.
Because
But you know who killed them.
right. So the only person who was theoretically there when
Wait,
they
have you
died.
said this to us before?
Nope. This just occurred to me because there were two really weird just instances. And it was that their heads did get like put down the river, but they could have probably been uh found other
Swear you
heads.
told us this last episode. Like, I swear
I
I've heard
definitely
this
didn't.
before.
But
I don't think so. This is not ringing a bell.
the only person that was there when they died who's still alive is Tamlin. And he has a reason to potentially try to help Reese out or lie to him. And we never see their wings. There's the whole, oh, they took their wings as trophies, but then Feyre never sees them. And Tamlin's like, oh yeah, we got rid of them a while ago. Like, do you think that there is a timeline in which Tamlin helped out his friend Reese, who did a lot for him, and like maybe his dad was like, you go kill the women, and Tamlin somehow faked their death, and that they're not dead?
Maybe, I swear to God, maybe I was having this conversation with Jacob. Like, why has this like recently come up in my life?
I don't know.
Where like an unhinged, maybe I saw it on Instagram, like the unhinged theory that Tam saved them, and like I think that unhinged theory I saw was like somehow opened a portal and moved them to Crescent City World, and they're like Rune's
Oh,
parents.
um, that
And
might
their
be
Rune's parents? What?
that might
Yeah,
be too
like
far. I don't know. I just
I
have a
don't
thought.
know.
I think I'm just extra.
That's a
I'm
really cool
extra.
theory, though.
Yeah, I'm very suspicious now of people that like just blindly assuming people are dead.
It's really
I
interesting, and
love that you.
when I've had this conversation before with someone who I apparently wasn't Brooke,
Was it not me?
my thought process was, why is this a theory that I've discussed previously?
I don't know. Now you got to figure
There's
out who
no
else thinks this so we can talk to them.
Now that Tam's parents are dead, like Tam's dad is dead, there's no reason for him not to tell Reese that his sister and mom are alive. Or there's
Unless,
no reason for his sister and mom to not like come out and be like, "Look, Reese, we're alive."
yeah, unless, yeah, I don't have a good reasoning for why they would still be hidden. Depending on what they've been doing for the past 100
Yeah, I
years.
was trying to think like he
Wait,
can use them for blackmail or something, but then why didn't he use them when Pharaoh was in the spring court?
I was just thinking, like, because immediately after Tamlin and his dad and brothers kill Reese's mom and dad, like, Reese and his dad come and kill everybody. And then Reese kills his dad. And then literally it's just Reese and Tamlin. And then I can understand Tamlin being like, you know what, I'm not telling him. And then, like, he thinks that he becomes Amaranth's whore. And then he's like, well, now he's evil, so I'm not telling him.
I swear to God, in the unhinged theory that I'm thinking of, I want to say someone was like, and Reese, and not Reese, Tam can like shapeshift up there. I swear we talked about this earlier, and like I thought it was Jamie that was like, can't Tamlin shapeshift other people? Like, what if he like shapeshifted them into birds and now they're just existing as animals?
No, I mean, we
Oh,
talked
he
about
did.
Tamlin shapeshifting other people.
Yeah, we talked about other people.
Alina, are you having very
Not
vivid book
that
club dreams?
that we're not a
Like,
part of.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I saw it somewhere. I thought we talked about.
You're gonna have
Oh,
to
when you
let
were
us
looking
know.
things up.
You do have to stop looking things up.
There's nothing to spoil. There's not a new book out that we haven't read.
You know everything. That's true.
Exactly.
That
I
does
don't
feel
need to
good.
worry about it.
That was it.
Um,
Those were the unhinged thoughts that I had.
Mine's not really a Mossverse thing. I was looking through my screenshots, and I had also screenshotted a line that goes, "Today I realized Azrael would use that blade on Moore's father. and take a long, long while to carve them up. And I just feel like that's a direct Sarah like foreshadow. Like it just felt like when she foreshadows things that are gonna happen in 4 books, and I'm very excited for that scene.
Yeah. I think we all
That's for
can't
Kier,
wait.
right? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it's satisfying.
Yeah, we all know Truth Teller has a buddy now, so I can't wait to find out if that does something. Yeah. What was your thought, Jamie? What were you thinking?
I thought was very interesting. Feyre's choice of words for the mortal queens when they visit. She described them as spiders, and that made me think of the Valg spider,
Oh, she
the throne of
didn't. That's
glass.
crazy.
Yeah, so it makes me think,
Wow.
and that like they say they were gifted by the Fae, but how true is that?
Mm. Yeah, because theoretically, like their winnowing power is from Hybern, right? Because they're already at this point allied with Hybern. But yeah, definite Valg and like spider creature vibes
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool.
Descendants of Maeve? I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe the Valg Asteri, like some of them survived and went over to the continent. Maybe that's like the whole Blackland thing. Maybe it's like the last bastion of Valgness in Prithian. They like didn't make the ship. Yeah,
Yeah,
very cool.
that was my thought. I'm like, oh, spiders, huh?
Hmm. I like
Where
that.
did we
I
see
like that
that
a lot.
recently?
Yeah. And I'm sure there's stuff that we missed. So if any of you listening or watching want to come chat with us, we could talk theories all day. We will finish up A Court of Mist and Fury and we'll chat with all of you on it next week. Join us then. Bye.
Hi guys.